Hi, YouTube.
Hello, this is Post-Apocalyptic Mukbang, Volume 8. That chicken dish that I've been talking about for months. That's actually what the title is going to be. This is chicken, rice, and peas and carrots with seasonings. It is the most basic thing. You may feel free to try it.
And I
Give
am
your
pertaining
thoughts.
to Rose. My name is Rose. This is so good.
We've got
Now, what did you call it? Survival Apocalypse Mukbang?
Post-Apocalyptic Mukbang.
Post.
So we've got chicken breast with rib meat, water, sea salt, modified food starch, sodium phosphate, salt, chicken broth, and flavorings. Fairly natural, fairly healthy. I've been eating off of this and doing very well. 3.5 servings per container. So
Talk a little louder.
this dish will get you, if you were to eat the full amount.
You can put on your glasses if you need to see that.
No, I'm doing the figures. So yeah, you're probably looking at about 20% of your cholesterol through fat, just from the chicken. About 25 to 30% of your sodium. And about 50% of your protein. Now, if you go extra on the chicken, then you can get even more. Basic facts on the peas. These are high in fiber. You get, in eating a decent amount of this dish, probably 5% of your calcium, your potassium, 10-12% of your iron, and no vitamin D. Mine I've enhanced with a little bit of sesame oil and soy sauce to make it taste like fried rice.
Low sodium soy sauce. I didn't need that. But oh my goodness, it's delicious.
It is basic. It is excellent nutrition. If you throw some corn in or extra vegetables, extra meat.
And this is canned chicken. But by the way, and it's very, very tasty.
What I did was I started the rice. Of course, you do your 1 cup rice to 2 cups of water. So I made 2 cups of rice, 4 cups of water. We get like 6 cups of the meal. I then added the canned chicken, water and all, scraped out the fat into the pan. A small, mini-sized can of green beans and carrots, which has already been tossed out, and that was the last one apparently on my stack. I have to get more. You set that in, you start your rice to a boil. Once it boils, you turn the heat way down and cover it and simmer it for about 13 to 15 minutes, and then you give it another 5 to 10 minutes of simmer, turn it off and let it sit and steam and thicken. In this case, the rice was a little underdone. I didn't quite add enough.
That's perfect.
Didn't quite initially add enough water, so I added another cup. I should have added the 4th cup, but I figured a cup of water between the vegetables and the chicken. It didn't quite even out, so now, yeah, it's perfect. I added a little bit, heated it to a boil real quick, turned it right back off, let it sit for about 10 minutes, and so yeah, the chicken cooks in with the rice and the water. I added the dried onions to it, and a little bit of this, I added some celery salt and some seasoned salt.
And garlic.
And then a little bit of garlic, and then much more garlic after the fact to avoid cooking the flavor out. And yeah, so it's garlic's good for your heart. This is your basic nutrition.
Garlic also is an antibiotic.
The only other better nutrition of anything that I've made has been the Bachelor Chow, which was the macaroni and cheese, some sort of cream soup, a can of chicken, and a can of vegetables. And it's kind of like a tuna casserole type thing. That with the cheese and everything, and it actually has the perfect balance of nutrition. Like, you could just eat that every single day and you're pretty much good.
I might have to go back for seconds. I am finished with mine already.
So
it is really good.
It's super easy. It can be prepared in pretty much any circumstance that you're able to have a fire, boil some water, obtain some rice and chicken. You can survive on that.
You definitely need your starches and your protein,
but also your vegetables for your fiber, and avoiding scurvy is important in those situations. So that's, I used the little can, but I normally would use the little can on a half as much chicken and rice. So it would be double.
If you haven't seen this, I ate all mine.
Yeah. So
I devoured that stuff.
Yeah, so that's what this is. It is very simple. It is your basic survival. It's also good for your health. This is, the chicken and rice is not going to make you buff muscularly wise. Like, you're not just gonna get, it's gonna be like, oh, I eat chicken and rice, and they're just not telling you they're also taking steroids. But as far as the experience I had eating this meal as a staple every single day for the entire time that I was unemployed, stuck out here, my vehicle wouldn't run, everything else, the poorest of the poor times, except it's a frugality video topic later on about the difference between being broke and being poor. It's a Dave Chappelle thing.
I was telling him earlier, if you do make rice, you can put butter and salt on it, or depending, to your taste. But slice up some green olive with pimentos in them and put it in there. Olives is your winter fruit. And oh my God, it's so delicious. So very delicious. You can do a lot of things. And me and my sister, when we were younger, we used to add butter and pancake syrup to it, or maple syrup to it. And oh my goodness, it's so good. Just not with the olives, but I mean just the rice, with butter and syrup in it.
Rice can be done there's so many different ways to eat rice. And because it can be stored dry, it doesn't go bad the same way that flour does.
And I was telling him, rice in a glass jar with the tight lid, put an oxygen absorber in there. It'll last you 30 years.
Yep.
That is a great way. You can store a lot of rice. Make sure it's in a dark, dry, cool place, though. Don't leave it where the sun's going to be hitting it or anything like that, or the difference in heat temperatures. So you want a good cupboard to put it in.
Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and finish my video out on that. Thank you for joining me for the post-apocalyptic mukbang. As you can see, I'm not the only person enjoying it. Easiest thing to do ever, chicken and rice. If you just eat this and you're working on whatever project it is you're working on, there's physical labor involved, you are going to gain some muscle mass. Your core strength will increase from just eating this. So we can continue on this one if you like.
We were videotaping off his and mine at the same time, so he will have a video going up on his channel as well. Make sure you subscribe to him and watch it the whole way through. He has a lot of wonderful content, and he has a lot of different stuff. So go through his older videos. You can find all kinds of stuff. I really enjoy watching him. You upload, what, about 4 times a week?
I upload when I feel like it. Sometimes I think at one point I went a month.
So, for the most part, I upload once a day, sometimes twice a day when I'm in the mood. But I enjoy uploading frequently. I like to do the YouTube, so that is definitely one of the things I enjoy doing. So what other things can you mix with rice?
Oh man, Spam.
Oh yeah, I love fried Spam.
Spam, cheese, and rice. It's very high in sodium. It's not really that good for you, but if Spam's what you got, Spam will keep you going.
Yeah. And Spam lasts a long time in the can.
Rice with eggs, rice with any kind of meat, rice with basically any kind of vegetable. You can make rice pudding, sweet rice cereal.
Yeah, we grew up on rice pudding and tapioca and
Spanish rice, fried rice, rice pilaf.
Yeah, you can do a lot of things with rice. Keep that in mind. It's great to add to your soups and stews. Especially if you have leftovers.
Chili needs rice in it.
Yep, you can put rice and chili.
If you're making a batch that's going to get completely eaten, you can use some kind of like wheat or semolina noodles, but you don't want to leave that in a pot that you're going to keep adding to or building on, like a Roadhouse or whatever, where it's like you got the pot and it's like you're going to keep stirring it, you're going to keep things clean, whatever, and the food in it is not of bad quality, but it's like you have a chili starter, and then from that chili you keep a starter, and then from that chili you keep a starter. You don't want to have noodle in that. Right.
Oh yeah, don't put noodle.
But you can use rice to stretch it.
Right.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah.
I do a lot of different kinds of soups, and rice is definitely, I'll add that to it. I was telling them we've already made like a vegetable soup or, cabbage soup of some kind, and got, a couple of those ramen noodle bricks and break them up and throw them in there with some chicken broth. Oh, it's to die for. It's very good. You can make a huge pot. Freeze what you don't have, you know, whatever's left over. Or if you're feeding a village, it's something to do quick and easy where everybody adds to the soup. You ever hear the stone and the stone soup?
I've heard of dump stews.
The stone soup theory. Now, this is from a gentleman. He took a big pan of water out, he started a fire, and he put his pan over it, and he put a big stone in there, like a big river rock. And people kept coming out and looking like, what are you making there, boss? And he said, I'm making stone soup. After a while, people got thinking about this. Well, I have a potato. You know, let's go add a potato to it. Then somebody else, hey, I got an onion. Let's cut up some onion and throw it. The whole village came together and started adding to it. And then, of course, he took the stone out. He said, we don't eat the stone. He goes, that was to hold the pan down on the fire. But he knew this was going to happen. He was trying to bring the village together. And I'll tell you what, it worked. Everybody gathered together and they added their own ingredients and whatever they had. And they had enough soup to feed an entire village out of this pan. So that's, you know, keep these things in mind.
Yeah, there was a video that I'd seen on my suggestions, and I don't know, some other people might have seen it, because it seems like a lot of people see the same suggestions when they come around. I'd seen one that was a rice pilaf that was made for a wedding, and I think it was in Uzbekistan. And that's like their national food is rice pilaf. And they showed these, like, they had these pans that were like 3 feet deep and as big around as this room.
Wow.
Like they were like chucking buckets of water, buckets of oil, buckets of meat. Like they watched them go through like, 500 pounds of meat and cutting it and slicing and chunking and then tying it up so that they throw it in to soak and whatever.
Right.
And then everybody at the wedding feast is like, they go through and they get all the chunks of meat and everything that goes on top of the rice.
Right.
And they take their plate and they go sit down, and it was all prepared in this. It's literally called like the pilaf center.
Wow.
And they have a place where it's a community center where anybody can use it to make pilaf.
That is really cool. I'd love to see something like that.
Really,
I'll have to look for that.
Yeah, there's some huge, gigantic public cookery where it's like a 15-foot diameter pan that they're making this rice dish in.
Yeah, that would be
literally
awesome.
feeding a village. Yeah.
So I love doing these kind of videos where you can really brainstorm on what you can do.
I'm coming to find out the rice is probably not that hard to grow. You don't have to run patties, I don't think. Or if you do, you can do small patties, like a box garden kind of thing in your yard or whatever, and be able to get quite a bit out of it.
I've never heard of them doing rice in this country.
Oh, yes. I've found channels of people that are like Midwestern Iowa rice farmers.
Wow. I'll have to look for that. That is really cool.
Yeah, it can grow just about anywhere that there's moisture.
Because I can garden almost anything.
If it's a wet environment, it will take to it. So, yeah, and it's... Yeah, I mean, I could probably build rice patties down by the creek or something.
Oh, yeah.
That would be...
Oh, yeah, because you have the land goes clear down to the creek. Yep. That would be perfect.
But yeah, there's...
And I'm from Pennsylvania. We say creek. We don't say creek.
Yeah, I used to say creek when I was a kid. And it was like it changed around here after a while. The 80s or 90s, I think people started saying creek instead of creek.
And we say pop instead of soda. Well, some people say pop. And other people say soda, but...
Yeah. At least we're not one of those places where everybody just calls every kind of carbonated sugar beverage a Coke.
Yeah. No. Growing
What kind
up...
of Coke do you want?
People would say, grab me a Coke, and they meant Pepsi, but, like, we were Pepsi drinkers growing up. We did drink Coke, but it was very rare.
But, yeah, no, and it's funny because I don't think my parents ever called it that, but they, for a long time, lived in South Carolina. Mm-hmm. And I would have thought they would have started calling everything Coke. Because I'm pretty sure they do that down there.
Yeah.
But,
if you're from South Carolina, let us know and tell us what...
Yeah, I can't remember.
Tell us what you say in the comments. We want to know.
Yeah, I encounter that because I'm the oddball. I think most people call it a pop around here, and I call it soda or soda pop.
Yeah, I'll call it either one. Whatever just comes to my mind
I think most
first.
people are like, because it's like fountain pop, not a fountain soda, but it's
my son-in-law always
road
says
soda.
Pop.
It's a road soda that's a fountain pop.
Yeah,
it's a soda pop, but.
So I would say I need to get a fountain drink.
Yeah, it's
and people would look at me and they're like, "What is that?" And I'm like looking at them. I'm like, "It's soda pop,
self-serve soda at the gas station." Yeah.
Yeah. People just did not know what I was saying, and I thought, okay, it's my accent.
No, it was people not knowing the words. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
really impressed. When I went to Florida, people looked at me like they had no clue I was. They kept asking me if I was Amish.
soda fountain, fountain pop. Like, yeah,
Because
or
of the
however
way
you
I
call it.
spoke. But I grew up around a lot of Amish, and when
But
I
I
lived
would,
in Mount Joy, we had a lot of Amish neighbors.
I would just wonder though, like, what do they call it then? Like, I'm gonna go get a Coke.
Yeah, you would think.
It's yeah, the Coke thing is hilarious to me. It kind of drives me nuts because it's like, I mean, why? That's a brand name, right? So
Well, if something would
why couldn't
happen
you say
anyway, not
could you
very many of us would be drinking Coke
all
or
right,
any other soda pop.
but being like, could you get me a Mountain Dew?
Yeah.
And then expecting like a Sprite.
Right.
But yeah, so yeah, I don't know if you have any other.
Yeah, if something would happen, I'm just saying you're not going to have a bunch of
Yeah,
soda drinks or sugary
no,
drinks.
no,
Tangs
sugar
are
would
good
be,
to hold on to
yeah,
because they're high in vitamin C. Kool-Aids or whatever, and as long as you have sugar.
Yeah, well, and a surprising number of trees can be tapped for sugar, much like maples.
Yes,
so,
yes, you can definitely tap that sap if you know what you're doing, and it's not a hard thing to do.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into that with the black walnut syrup. I think that's gonna be cool.
I won't be eating none of that. I'm deadly allergic to nuts.
Ooh, yeah, I'll be.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't come from the nuts; it's the sap from the walnut tree. But
I wouldn't trust it.
But yeah,
I'm very picky.
Yeah, that will be my natural source of sugar in that kind of situation would be to tap walnut trees because
I would love to see a video, like do a video on that.
Well,
so if you do it, let me know and I'll come out and
we will do that.
Oh,
yeah, if
we'll
I can
find
find the tapping stuff because the issues with shipping is the fact that I'm not in a position to do any kind of online ordering whatsoever. So if it's not carried in a store around
and
here,
he lives in the middle of nowhere, so
and a mid-sized midwestern town, a small city, but it's like if the stores there don't have it, we got a Hobby Lobby. Maybe they will have something for that there. If they don't have it, I would have to figure out how to make the things that I need out of like pieces of pipe or something.
Right.
So I don't know, but yeah, that is the thing I definitely want to do though. I want to get at least one tree that I tap something off of and collect some syrup and be able to make. You can make jellies. You can make.
We like jam.
You can make syrup it would be like maple syrup, but it would be walnut syrup, and you can further.
I would want elderberry.
Further
jam.
dry it out and crystallize it for actual granulated sugar.
Yeah.
You can get maple sugar that's that way. So basically,
that's actually a really good idea.
Homemade brown sugar off the trees that grow like weeds in my woods. So, yeah. So I don't know what else you have. I pretty much exhausted and about to get seconds on my meal. So
we're good.
Right.
I just wanted to get this video out to you. Thank you so much for cooking me dinner. It was delicious. You guys definitely have to try this. Love you, YouTube. I'll make sure his information is in the description. If he comments on it, I'll pin his comment so that you can just click on his picture. Make sure you definitely go on and watch his videos and subscribe.
Like, share, subscribe.
Like, share, and subscribe.